Kentucky with a tradition of horsepower. Churchill Downs in Louisville, a famous American racetrack. A different tradition of horsepower in Kentucky in Sparta, where 43 NASCAR Nationwide Series machines about to gallop off for 300 miles at the Kentucky Speedway. After a day of fighting showers, the skies have cleared, the track is dry. We are almost ready to get started when he takes the green flag. Missouri's Mike Wallace will have started his 400th NASCAR Nationwide Series race.
I'll tell you what I'm really proud of. I mean, 400 races, the last week Allie almost won the big race in Daytona.
Familiar face in a different place.
Love to watch this young man race, Casey Kane. He drives the wheels off of anything he gets in. He'll be fun to watch come up through the field tonight.
And a new face, Will Kimmel, the 23-year-old nephew of 9-time ARCA champ Frank Kimmel, making his Nationwide Series debut in the 39 car, qualified an impressive 15th for this race.
Racing royalty, the Kimmel family.
Yes, sir. So, these drivers lined up along pit road, getting ready for tonight's opening ceremony. Look at that scene. The cars in the parking lot, they're still coming in off I-71 in the background.
Good as it gets, guys.
Oh, man, these dudes are jacked up.
Let's go.
Fans all cheering now as we get set to go trackside for tonight's opening ceremony before they fire them up and get this race underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Kentucky National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as the Executive Director of the National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries, Dr. Roger Marsh, offers tonight's invocation.
Heavenly Father, as we gather here this evening, we want to give you thanks for an outrageously gorgeous evening, for the excitement of racing here with the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Kentucky Speedway. Lord, having celebrated our nation's freedom this week, we certainly want to pray for our troops around the world. We ask you to protect them and watch over them and preserve our freedoms here. Be with every team that competes tonight. Thank you for the sponsors. We thank you for all these wonderful fans. And Father, we pray that we'll be able to enjoy the excitement of racing here at this Speedway tonight. And all this we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
In honor of our troops, please place your hand over your heart and welcome the volunteers of the United States Army Field Band as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it.
That was outstanding.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And certainly getting a response. You know, this track's had a history of getting first-time winners in the past. How about Elliott Sadler? Never raced here before. Maybe he gets that first win in a long time tonight here at Kentucky. Nationwide regulars won 3 of the last 6 events. Speaking of guys that have never won a race before, Stephen Wallace has an ARCA win here. Qualified inside the top 10. He'll start in 9th position tonight as he buckles up and gets ready to go. The engines fire, and the race begins at Kentucky Speedway. 300 fast miles on a Friday night. They'll let them roar next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Kentucky is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
Getting ready to go at Kentucky Speedway for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Although it's the first Sprint Cup race here tomorrow night, it was 11 years ago the Nationwide Series began competing here. Kevin Harvick scored the inaugural victory, one of 4 former Kentucky Speedway Nationwide winners in tonight's field. Back then it was the Childress Racing 2 car. Tonight it's still a Chevy, but it's the 33 car owned by Kevin and his wife Delana, the former series champ, starting 6th. Will he be able to get to the lead? How long will it take? Same questions about Kyle Busch starting at the back of the field in an unpracticed backup car after a crash during qualifying. How long and will he be able to get to the front? I know 3 men who have some opinions about that particular topic. Upstairs to Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie. Marty, what do you think?
Well, when Kyle Busch won this race back in 2004, Alan, he did it in a backup car starting in the back of the field. Now, if you watched the truck race last night, you know that he went to the rear of the field, but that was for a different reason. He missed the driver's meeting. Today was a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different. He did go out to make that qualifying attempt. Got a little bit loose as he got back to the throttle down in 3 and 4. See the car step out from under him here? Backs it into the wall. Now, you mentioned about that only win that he's done from the back of the pack in a Nationwide Series car. That was a mere 45 wins ago. It was his 3rd career win at that time. But I think tonight it might be a little bit more difficult because of this car. The one thing that these teams have fought is the splitter hitting the racetrack. This is a very rough racetrack, and that could be difficult since they have no laps on this. But what we have seen, this driver and this team be at their very best in adverse conditions, so it'll be fun to watch his progress.
Well, he won last night's race. We'll see if he can do it again. Andy, let's talk about this tire. We heard Joey Logano make mention to it.
Yeah, this Goodyear's brought such a good tire here, the best of both worlds. It holds speed really well, and it doesn't wear out. So it's going to really open up a lot of opportunities for teams. Probably going to make them have to not change tires the second half of the race. If I'm a crew chief, I'll use the first half of the race to get my adjustments done and get tires on it. So at the end, I don't have to change tires.
More double-duty drivers than we've normally seen. Who stands out outside the normal suspects like Carl Edwards or Kyle Busch coming from the back?
Well, I think you got to look at Mark Martin here too. You know, he's never raced here, but he does have a lot of experience driving these cars.
And I think Justin Allgaier and Reed Sorensen also have good cars.
All right, we're going to find out because it's time to get the engines fired. Let's go down trackside to get race number 18 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series underway.
Now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome 6-time Grammy Award winner, country music superstar, and Kentucky native, Naomi Judd.
Drivers, start your engines!
Craig, you got me, Heath? Talk to me. Yeah, you got me? Okay. Here's another radio if you want to try it right quick for radio 2.
Well, if you're with us through Countdown, you know that the man in that 20 car, Joey Logano, had his streak snapped to 3 straight poles. Does he get his 3 wins in a row snapped as well? We'll find out because when we come back, we'll talk to him. He's our in-race reporter, and boy, he knows how to run this track. And you heard him earlier say, don't count me out just because I didn't win the pole. Last time we saw Joey Logano was at Daytona, and he was passing everybody twice. Because remember, early in the race when this happened, he ended up going back to the back of the pack and ends up getting a little help from the old crew and petroleum jelly, and comes back with a little assist in the old 2-car tandem from his teammate while all the carnage went on behind him to pick up his first win of the 2011 season. And take a look across the top of your screen because that'll be our starting field. 2 cars did not qualify, Danny Eflin and Carl Long. And 2 cars went to the rear. You know about Kyle Busch, but also Jeremy Clements, as he also went to a backup car. In-race reporters, Joey Logano. Let's talk to him, DJ.
Hey, Joey, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
There, I got you.
All right, Joey, thanks for talking with us. Our first question comes from our mailbag, and Jabez Coggin from Port St. John, Florida, asks, how is running the Nationwide race going to benefit you in the Cup race tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it's going to help a lot for sure. You know, I think the biggest thing that's different right now is a tire compared to what I'm used to here in Kentucky. So it seems like the line that we're running out here is quite a bit different. So
going to take a lot from what I learned here tonight to take over tomorrow here. So this feels like, when you change the tire, it's like a whole new racetrack. So it's trying to figure all that out will help for tomorrow for sure.
Joey, talking about that line being a little bit different than these 3 races that you've won here in a row, was right on the bottom. Notice the truck race last night, the groove was up a little bit, and already see it in these Nationwide cars. Have you had to adjust your driving style and the setup of the race car to that?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely got more grip out here. And, yeah, it seems like the highlight is the preferred line, where in the past it's always been on the bottom. And, it's taken late in the race before guys move up. So we'll see. I mean, I won the race last year on the top there. So hopefully it all works out. We got good track position right now. Get by a couple cars here and see our cars in clean air, hopefully, and make some good adjustments to be here at the end for sure.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking with us. Good luck in trying to get that 4th win. Now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Adam Stevens.
4th, thanks.
Hey, Adam, Andy Petrie in the booth. You have us?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Adam, we've been speculating how Goodyear brought such a great tire here and how it's performing. How is that going to affect your strategy tonight?
I tell you, it's a lot different than it has been years past in most races this year. The tire's really not falling off, so you're going to see a lot of 2 tires and some fuel only late in the race, depending on how much fuel we have to put on.
Okay, Adam, well, good luck tonight getting your 3rd win as a crew chief in the Nationwide Series, and thanks for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
Let's take a look at the rest of our onboard cameras. As you know, we've got one with Joey Logano, our in-race reporter, also with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, and that should be fun watching him come from the back, Mark Martin with a rookie stripe on the back of his car, Kevin Harvick, and Jason Leffler, and Stephen Wallace. And our over-the-wall reporter tonight is the front tire changer for the 66, and Stephen Wallace. And there's Mark Hollywood Armstrong. Hollywood, we talked about the changes they've made down on pit road. How does it affect you and the other teams?
Well, Marty, it's a completely reconfigured pit road. What used to be nice and long and straight with an unusual high pit wall but narrow, making it difficult for the crew guys to stand on, is now all gone. 30-some yards behind us now. What we have now is a nice big wide pit road, a lot closer to the fans, but plenty of room to get our work done. And with limited time on the racetrack, certainly it's going to be exciting on the racetrack, but a lot of excitement down here on pit road.
All right,
guys.
You guys be safe down there. Thanks. And there you see the configuration. All right, here's our Goodyear track facts, and one thing that just doesn't jump out is the roughness.
Yeah, a lot of bumps, especially entering the corner, especially turn 1. That 14 degrees of banking, they're running a lot of speed here not to have any more banking than that.
Let's get the final update from pit road. Jamie Little, you're up.
Well, after his return to Daytona last week, where he finished a disappointing 22nd, Trevor Bayne told me he is ready to win. He loves this track, loves the bumps on it, and this morning the team decided to put his teammate Carl Edwards' setup on the car, and together they think they can get their first win right here tonight. Dave Burns?
Jamie, in practice yesterday, point leader Reed Sorensen wasn't that good, and they finished 13th on the chart. But crew chief Stuart Cooper told me that was 180 degrees from where they started. And in that direction, they needed about 100% more improvement. So I talked with them today. They feel like in 8 short laps in today's practice, they got about 70% there. Not bad, and Reed's very happy. Dr. Jerry Punch?
You know, it's been feast or famine here at Kentucky Speedway for Ricky Stenhouse. In 2008, he won his first ever ARCA race here. A year later, he logged his first Nationwide Series top 10. But last year, he was pulled out of the car when Jack Roush said, he didn't qualify a week early at Nashville, so I'm going to pull you out and not let you race. He thought he would be fired a week later. Well, that didn't happen, and this year he is back as a driver and serious contender for the win. What a difference a year makes. Vince Welch.
When Elliott Sadler and this KHI team got off to a slower start than a lot of people expected, Sadler avoided the panic button. He kept his confidence. He said, things are coming together. We're going to be fine. They've had a chance to win a couple of races. Some bad breaks have cost them trips to victory lane. But Sadler believes this is the night they're going to get it done. His crew chief, Ernie Cope, told him just a moment ago, let's close the deal. Marty Reed.
And Elliott Sadler, his 8th pole of his career, and he has selected the high side of the track. Carl Edwards will be down to his left. Carl, if he leads just one more lap, will be at the 5,000 mark of laps led here in the Nationwide Series. Pace car pulls off, crowd's coming to its feet, and here they come as race number 18 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series from Kentucky Speedway is green. 3 wide down the backstretch and into turn number 3, and Elliott Sadler takes the early lead.
Yeah, looks like it paid off for him taking that outside lane. Kind of had Carl pinched down low in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it just makes it difficult to stay in the throttle down there. You go across those bumps, back end wants to step out a little bit. Now you see a challenge. Elliott's teammate and owner, Kevin Harvick, trying to take over that second spot from Joey Logano.
Harvick in the 33 on the high side, and he does nose ahead.
Yeah, I talked to Kevin Harvick earlier today, and he said he's probably going to run a little bit higher line tonight, so I make that pass pretty easy on Joey Logano on the outside.
Behind Joey is the 60 of Carl Edwards, so he has dropped back several positions. And the first 4 trying to pull away. There is Kyle Busch on the right side of your screen. Remember, started back in the back of the field. He's already up to 34th. That's 9 spots.
Yeah, he's getting them 2 at a time right here.
Going underneath Eric McLaurin. It's great to see Eric back after that horrible crash he had into the wall at Daytona. Came away with a concussion, but he's back behind the wheel now. And Elliott Sadler, this looks a little bit like what he did last night in the truck race until he got caught out on the first caution. He had a really good truck last night.
Yeah, I like what, Kevin Harvick told me he's going to run on the top. There he is running dead on the bottom through 3 and 4. I think what he was talking about was mainly 1 and 2, that he really wanted to try to run a little bit higher down there because of the bump.
Boy, did you see the bumps there when the 60 of Carl Edwards took that low line? He was able to get through and pass the 20 of Joey Logano. He picks up 3rd.
Yeah, entrance to turn 1 is where the bumps are the worst. That's why you see a really wide arc by most of these drivers and stand up. You can get back down at the center of the corner if your car's working that good.
Let's watch how bouncy this is.
Does it feel? I know, Dale, you haven't raced here, but you've driven here. Does it feel that rough?
Yeah, it really does. And that's been over 4 years ago that I tested here the last time. So these guys are telling me that it's even gotten worse over that time. So you expected the racetrack to widen out, and I think it's going to enhance the racing here tonight.
Let's update you as a couple of cars have gone behind the wall. The 46 of Chase Miller has taken off. So has Dennis Setzer. The 72 of John Jackson is in pit lane as well.
I can tell you, coming over here testing as we move away from Elliott Sadler now, as these guys battle for 9th place right now, but Elliott being out front, we come here and test. He was always way faster than I could ever go around here. So when he got the pole here tonight, it wasn't a surprise. He really knows how to, or has a good feel for this place.
Ryan Scott coming up on Mark Martin there in the 32. Scott in the 11. And they're both chasing the 16 of Trevor Bayne.
I heard Mark talking about that the 3 races that he's run, his cars have been extremely loose. These guys get him tightened up just a little bit. He'll show how to get around here, too, even though he's never raced at this particular track.
Let's go back a little deeper in the field. That is 16th place, as we've got the 19 of Mike Bliss and the 64 of David Rudiman. And Rudiman really wasn't sure what kind of car he had because of the lack of practice time.
Yeah, and his first lap qualifying wasn't very good, so he just had to kind of get in a good, solid lap to get in the race at the second one. Imagine watch him go forward.
Here comes old age and treachery right around youth and exuberance, and Mark Martin takes the spot away from Trevor Bayne.
If I was Trevor, I wouldn't mind that pass. There's a lot to be learned right there in that spot.
And right in front of Mark will be his Turner teammate, Justin Allgaier. There you see him in the 31 going by. Not missing anything up front. Sadler's lead over Harvick has maintained the same distance.
Harvick's not letting Elliott Sadler get very far out there on him.
Yeah, these two have opened up about a 1.5 seconds over 3rd place. We mentioned Sadler's leading last night in the truck race. He led 47 in the first 51 laps, pitted, and then the caution came out, and that's really set him back.
Yeah, his truck got extremely loose last night. He had an opportunity late in the race on a restart in that truck. He got on the inside of Kyle Busch, got extremely loose then down in 1 and 2, and didn't recover from that. Ended up finishing 6th.
Staying here because we've got a challenge for the lead. Here comes Kevin Harvick on the inside.
I say, come on, boss man. I need to lead the most laps. Can't you ride back there a little while?
Yeah, bonus point. And the boss says, well, just follow me for a while. And boy, all of a sudden he pulls out by about 4 car lengths.
Now, he's probably showing Elliott. He said, you might want to work on your car a little bit. It's not quite as good as mine.
All right, right, let's check in on Kyle Busch. Remember, he started back in the back of the field. He has moved up to 21st, and we're working lap number 10. Give us an update, Dave Burns.
Marty, he's flying right now, as you might expect he would, through the back of the pack. Right now going to work, it looks like, with Mike Wallace there. But one thing that he may have trouble with is when it comes to pit road. Remember, to go to the backup car, these guys pulled a lot of things off the primary car, shocks, springs, sway bar, and they put them on this backup car. But one thing they couldn't get to were the electronics, including the tachometer. That's how he judges his pit road speed. Listen to the radio conversation between him and Jason Ratcliffe, his crew chief.
The dog tag's right. I'm not sure the tack is right, so I'll just have to judge off the cars in front of me whether I'm too slow or not. The tack's going to make me run too slow, I think. So better to be that side than the other.
Sounds like they're playing it safer right now, but you know, Kentucky sort of has a reputation of having some speeding penalties. They've changed things since a few years back, but you never know what can happen, guys.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, and most of these teams calculate that RPM, so they don't really have to get that reference from the pace car. But in this case, they needed that. And with him starting so far back, you don't get to really start up behind a pace car to get that speed. And other cars kind of zig and zag, and they're cleaning up their tires, and it's hard to get a good pit road speed.
His last lap, 31.7 seconds. The race leader, Kevin Harvick, 31.4. And he has now got a 0.8 of a second lead over second place Elliott Sadler. There's your top 5 here at Kentucky after just 12 of 200. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series here at Kentucky, the Feed the Children 300. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. And you saw from the aerial shot, cars still trying to get into the racetrack. So for those folks coming to tomorrow's Cup race, allow extra time. So right now we're watching our race leader, the 33 of Kevin Harvick, as he is lapping the 52 of Kevin LePage. And that means 29 cars on the lead lap. Tim Andrews is out of this race, as is Harmon, Miller, Jackson, Setzer. Johnny Chapman is off. Let's ride on more with him. Watch him work this wheel.
Yeah, I find this shot real interesting. You know, just how rough this track is. You can see going into these corners, you can see how the driver's bouncing them down. But the one thing I'm seeing is just how much throttle he's able to carry. Yeah, you can see just how hard he drives it in the corner. Right back to it hard.
Kevin Harvick, his next top 10 finish, he'll tie Tommy Houston for the most in Nationwide Series history at 198. And right now, he's not only looking at top 10, Jamie Little, he's looking at first place.
Absolutely. Andy mentioned the boss man taking the lead from his driver, Elliott Sadler, but he is hungry, and so is this team. Kevin Harvick has not been at victory lane since Richmond last September, and this 33 team hasn't won yet either, as we have great side-by-side battle on the left side. But Kevin Harvick, the plan all along was to get out front in clean air. His crew chief, David Hyder, said this car handles so well in the out front in clean air, and that's where he is, guys, and he is checking out.
Well, Jamie, that win back in September, you talked about at Richmond, it ended a 15-race winless streak, and he enters tonight with, guess what, a 15-race winless streak. On board with Stephen Wallace, 12th place. He's got Brian Scott right in front of him.
We're talking about Kevin Harvick and how much he was in the gas, and all these drivers, the ones I talked to, were telling me as they moved up, they're finding a little more grip up there. And I think part of that too is this tire. We heard Joey Logano talking about the new tire. I believe it has a lot of grip, and it's changed things for a lot of drivers here, but it's enabling them to be in the gas a lot, and that's why we're seeing these high speeds.
Update you another car. The 03 of Scott Riggs is taking it behind the wall, and Jeff Green is also behind the wall. I update you on that end of the field. There is the front end of the field, and the lead is now 2.2 seconds over Elliott Sadler. Let's move back a little bit farther, and there are the Roush Racing teammates. The 6, as you're on board with Stenhouse, going around Trevor Bayne.
You can see Trevor just waving him by. At this point in the race, it looks like that Ricky Stenhouse has a little better car.
I've watched him a number of laps. Our monitors give the top 3 speeds, and he's been in that top 3 quite often, other than whenever he's making a pass on the car. So he apparently has a really fast car.
Pretty much all year he's had about the top 3 fastest car.
What a difference a year makes. Sitting on the pit box last year, wondering if he had a job. Right now, he's in the midst of the point championship, and he's running in 7th position. Let's check speeds at the line, see who's really fastest. And on this lap,
so far, Carl Edwards.
Yeah, we've seen these Fords, the group of them, all be pretty close in there.
Now, you see just how close the speeds really are. And there you see Brian Scott actually has the fastest lap that time by.
Kyle Busch has moved up to 17th, and he is running about 168 and change. So there is Kyle. Remember, started 43rd in the field, started last night in the truck race, went on to win. Can he do it again? He's still got a long way to go, but so do we. We've only knocked down 24 laps.
Night here at Kentucky Speedway, Kyle Busch in that 18 Toyota that he owns, dropping to the back of the pack at the beginning of the Camping World Truck Series race and storming to the win. Tonight, after a qualifying crash, Kyle starting at the back. He's already stormed into the top 15, and we are just 30 laps into tonight's 200-lap, 300-mile nationwide series event here in Kentucky. There's Kyle working his way up from 43rd to 15th now, just 30 laps into the event. You see the scoring serial there as Kyle has chipped his way forward isn't a good word. Stormed his way forward is a better word. Rusty and Brad, while we watch Kevin Harvick lead Elliott Sadler by some 2.7 seconds at the front of the pack. Early thoughts on what we're seeing now?
Yeah, I think we're seeing these guys just kind of log some laps down, figure out what these cars need on this bumpy racetrack, this new nationwide car. But guys, I have raced here before, and I'm telling you, this track is going to change big time when it gets dark. I think after the first pit stop, we'll be making some adjustments. But Brad, trust me, things are going to change. I don't think what we're going to see now is what we're going to see later. Things are going to move around.
I agree with you 100%. The next 30 minutes, next half hour, we're going to see that sun peek behind those grandstands. And this racetrack is going to change 100%. This pit stop coming up will be ultimate importance that they hit it right going on into the night.
And the race for second heating up. Elliott Sadler in the 2 started on the pole, led the opening laps of the race. He's being chased down by Carl Edwards in the 60. Vince?
Elliott Sadler did lead those first 8 laps, and when Kevin Harvick passed him, Sadler had no complaints about the car. He says it's a little neutral on entry, a little tight center off, but he feels like it's going to come to him as the track changes, just as Brad and Rusty were addressing. Now he's trying to fend off Carl Edwards, but no complaints from Elliott Sadler, at least not yet. Doc?
And what's coming to Elliott Sadler right now is Carl Edwards. The track is getting better for Carl. In fact, Carl's having issues in only one turn of the 4th racetrack. Listen into the radio.
Yeah, when you do your wedge, do it with the left rear. Yeah, just don't have very much grip down there at 3 and 4. Real slippery. I think as the sun goes down, we'll get better.
You know, Carl is pretty good in 1, 2, and 4, but in turn 3, where their sun is baking the corner, he is very loose on entry. And they were talking about a wedge adjustment or maybe an air pressure adjustment. My question to DJ and Andy is, how can you change a car and make one corner better and not hurt the other 3, guys?
Yeah, it's not that easy, Doc. I promise you. If I'm the crew chief there, I would say, let's just wait till that sun goes down a little bit. If we're running good, we're running 3rd. You see Carl not having much trouble. I would just kind of wait on that adjustment, I think. It's just, I wouldn't want to mess up what he's got going. That's good.
Yeah, and adjusting your driving style maybe for the time being. Try something a little bit different there and see if that should help you. And as Andy said, this racetrack, and Rusty and Brad brought up, this racetrack's going to change here in the next little bit, so I wouldn't take too big a swing at anything.
You saw that pit stop by David Rudiman. That is extremely early. The pit window about 55 to 60 laps. No reason given yet as to why they came in, but it could cost him. He is already 1 lap down, could be 2 laps down.
Yeah, one thing I saw right there, with Carl struggling just a little bit, get into 3, sometimes that can actually help you because it keeps you from overcharging the corner and can help your exit. And I saw him get a good run off of turn 4 the last lap.
The lead by Kevin Harvick is 3.7 seconds. That's why we're focusing right now on this battle, because it's the best one we've got going for second place. Carl Edwards putting the pressure on Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, you can see just what Andy was talking about there. Carl get out a little bit early. He got back to the gas really hard, but Elliott running that higher line was able to keep a little more momentum and keep the 60 car behind him.
Yeah, one thing that Carl Edwards is seeing now, though, Brad Keselowski is getting a little bit bigger in his mirror. He's the car running right behind him. And now looking at his lap times, Keselowski actually ran the fastest lap last time around.
There you see Keselowski from high above. on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, I saw him working that high lane in 3 and 4 earlier, and he actually got out of the groove. Not dangerously high, but he did slip out of the groove a little bit, so I think he's trying to work it up.
Right now, just 21 cars on the lead lap as we have been lean, mean, and green. And Kevin Harvick took over the race lead on lap number 9, and he hasn't looked back. His lead is 3.5 seconds. Our first caution of the night brought out by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was running 6th. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened to him.
He's acting like he's got a flat tire right there.
All right, come on down pit road.
He was trying to get it on pit road, just carried too much speed on the apron.
Yeah. I believe that might have had a left rear tire that had gone down.
Finished
Are you
20.
okay? It's fine. Got a tire here.
Finished 27th last week, and this is going to drop him back in the field. He did get it refired, but he is a lap down, now in 21st position. Found out what was wrong with David Rudiman. He also had a tire issue. The wheel was not tight. That's why they had to come back in. So that explains why he is 2 laps down. And here they come with Kevin Harvick. That big 3.5 second lead is all gone. Dave, let's send it to you.
3-time winner Joey Logano says the balance is pretty neutral. I can make it tight or loose. But after thinking about it, he wants to be a little more snug at the beginning of the run. Down to the track bar, air into the right rear tire, Sunoco fuel. Jamie?
And at 33, Kevin Harvick, brand new race car working well tonight. It's getting tighter as the run goes on. No changes, 4 tires and Sunoco. Doc?
Carl Edwards, you heard about his issues in turn 3. Going to put wedge in the left rear, the air pressure in the right front, and a tape adjustment, also tape coming off the front. Vince.
The 22 of Brad Keselowski, a little tight, 4 tires and air pressure adjustment and Sunoco fuel. The 2 right there in the front of your screen, Elliott Sadler. He says, don't change it much, but give me a little bit of freedom in the middle of the corner. They're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment.
Top 5 come out as they came in, and +2 on Brian Scott as he picks up 2. Stephen Wallace picks up 4, and the hood was up on the 18. We'll check on the reason why, as he's going to give up a lot of track position, but Kyle back underway. Quarterfinals of the FIFA Women's World Cup begin on ESPN Saturday. 2 games at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. England faces France, and at 2:15 p.m. Eastern, Germany takes on Japan. FIFA Women's World Cup on ESPN Saturday, and both games are also available on ESPN3.com. All right, let's get a quick update on the 18. Dave, what are you hearing?
Marty, they were thinking about stopping twice to make some major adjustments. Then they only stopped once and got it all done so he didn't lose track position. They changed the settings in the front of the car to get the splitter off the track, and then they made wedge and track bar adjustments to try to help the handling. He was mostly tight on that run.
He came in 13th. He'll restart 19th. There are only 20 cars on the lead lap. And we're back to Green Flag Racing with Harvick, Edwards, Sadler, Keselowski, Logano, your top 5. And here we go. We're going to try it 3 wide. Logano slides up a little bit, and that allows Edwards to tuck in underneath him. Now he's going back under Edwards.
So Brian Scott getting a big run down into turn 3. Actually, a little push.
Yeah, watching the lap times, Brian Scott had one of the 3 fastest cars for over half of that first run. So look for him to keep moving forward.
On board with Stephen Wallace. His crew did an excellent job of getting him out, picking up those 4 spots. He is now in 7th.
You see right there the 2 car of Elliott Sadler and the 20 of Joey Logano, just how much their cars were bouncing more down into turn 1 on the bottom side.
All of a sudden, right now, the bottom doesn't look like the place to be. You see Joey Logano getting passed by 2 cars.
Boy, and I just saw Sadler. I mean, he skipped up the track when he hit that bump coming through 3 and 4. That is 3rd, 4th, and on back. 1st and 2nd have gotten about 1.2 seconds ahead of that group. Harvick over Brad Keselowski. As we go on board, there you see the first 2. And here comes the rest of the pack.
One thing I'm seeing right now, Joe Logano is going to make it 4 straight at this racetrack. They're going to have to do some major adjusting on that car. It's just not to his liking. Wasn't in that first run and haven't seemed to help it much here at the beginning of this run.
Kyle Busch is back up to 13th, so he has picked up the spots that he lost with the extra time on pit road. Also didn't get a chance to give you the lucky dog. It was Mike Wallace, who's making his 400th career start. And since the restart, we're checking in on the 32. Mark Martin, he's going the wrong direction. What are you hearing, Doc?
Well, they started the race and the car was pretty neutral for Mark. It had been really tight in practice and really loose in qualifying. But in about 5 or 6 laps in, the car started getting tighter and tighter and tighter where Mark couldn't drive it. Mark likes a loose race car. They came in on that pit stop, put 2 rounds of wedge out of the left rear, air pressure out of both front tires. And right now, Mark is just trying to feel the car out and sort it out. He hadn't said anything on the radio. He said, let me get the car settled in here a moment, then I'll start moving back until I see how the car is going to do. Right now, the car is still a touch tight.
Well, he picked up 1 spot back up to 16th after dropping down to 17th. And look at all the side-by-side action there. As we're on board with Kasey Kahne, right alongside him, the 66 of Stephen Wallace. Here comes Kyle Busch. Whoa, and Kahne gets loose.
Kahne's been 3 wide for about a full lap here now.
Well, it took a total of 52 laps, but Kyle Busch has cracked the top 10. Kahne on the high side of the 30 of Reed Sorensen. And Sorensen, remember, he came in here as the points leader, but he has not had good finishes the times he's been in that 30 car. 0 top 10s.
It looks like that adjustment they did on that 18 car. Well, I was going to say, it looked like it helped it a lot. Still struggling over the bumps right there. They made that adjustment on the front jack screws because that splitter was probably hitting.
This right here is one thing that's so great about this racetrack. You have a lot of room to get a good run off the corner. You see, as Kasey Kahne did in that 7 car, was able to pass 2 cars before he got to turn 1.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier in that mix as well, and now Allgaier all of a sudden thought he was going to be ahead of those 2, and he's behind them just that quickly. Sorensen in the 30. Here comes Eric Almirola in the mix in the 88.
Looks like that high lane is just getting better and better as this race goes on. It's just making, you know, that pass on the bottom. You see Kasey Kahne gets stuck down there, just not able to go.
You mentioned Kasey Kahne. Dave Burns, you've got more?
Well, Marty, you guys saw the car jump out on him like that and look very loose. And that's disturbing because that was the problem on the first run for Kasey. He said, I feel like my right rear is really not working too hard, very loose on the car. They made a track bar adjustment, raised it 2 rounds, and changed 4 tires. So we'll see how they progress.
Well, we were just watching as you were talking, Dave, and that 31 car just bouncing. And I remember Justin Allgaier during qualifying today says, sometimes it hits so hard, it's like rattling my teeth.
Yeah, the bumps that we're talking about it can accentuate whatever your problem is. If your car is loose, then it seems to hit that right rear the hardest and make you looser yet. If your car is tight, then you hit those bumps and you lose the front end.
Let's check in on the 4th place battle. Brian Scott has it. Elliott Sadler wants it. Sadler down low. Last time he went through here, he skated up, and he is again.
Yeah, but his car looks like it's working pretty good on the bottom. Of all the cars I see in the top 10, his works pretty good down that low lane.
And you have a lot of room, a lot more room coming out of turn 4 to use that and get a nice run.
So he's arcing the car in. Yeah, he's really arcing the car into turn 1, so it really helps his angle coming off.
Here comes a side-by-side action with the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 31 Justin Allgaier. That is for 9th. And there's Kahne alongside the 66 of Stephen Wallace. So move Kyle up into the 9th position. You're on board with Wallace right now as he is in 12th. Meanwhile, up front, Kevin Harvick still leads. He's led a total of 48 laps. We've had 3 different leaders here at Kentucky.
Where winners are celebrated, champions are crowned, and legends are born. Home of the biggest events in motorsports, ESPN and ABC.
Proud to be continuing our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series from Kentucky Speedway in Sparta between Cincinnati and Louisville. Tonight, just past the 1/4 mark of today's NASCAR Nationwide Series 300-miler. Kevin Harvick is your race leader. We've only had 1 caution in the race so far. Got 20 cars on the lead lap, and the man who's led the most laps, you're looking at him. Harv has led 54 of 63 complete. Make it 64 right now. Let's get up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Jamie has the race leader tonight.
And his crew chief, David Hyder, told me they expected this track to get looser as the night went on. Unfortunately, Kevin Harvick coming on the radio saying he's getting tighter, but he seems to think it has to do with this new tire. Guys, we have a crash on the track. Caution is out.
That is Will Kimmel making his NASCAR Nationwide Series debut tonight, and it is not going to end in a fashion that he was hoping for. Tough break for the young 23-year-old.
I'm sorry.
I wonder if he cut down a tire. What happened here? Let's see what happened to Will as he goes off in the corner there. 4. Comes into the corner there. He's loose right there. He's lost it. Yep, she's coming around.
Yeah, Brad, that's just a classic case of getting loose. It's pretty bumpy down there in 3 and 4, so probably helped it, get on around there.
Yep, got collected up, got pancake slammed into the wall there. Too bad for Will.
Father Frank Kimmel won tons and tons of races, and for Will to be here is really
Racing
a good deal. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Yep. So second caution is out in the race. Leaders were on pit road at lap 44. 20 laps later, suspect we'll see most of them in this early in the race.
Yeah, I got to
take some fuel, right?
Yeah, they'll get on down here, change some tires, take some fuel, and make some adjustments they need to make. There were some good cars and bad cars out there. We saw Elliott Sadler get way high. I'm sure he'll make some adjustments, and just along with other guys. And they got to keep up with the track right now. It's starting to cool off. The sun's setting. It's a big issue starting to happen here.
Remember, the new pit road curved, moved out closer to the racetrack to be more enjoyable and viewable to the race fans, so it makes a little different shape. Some visibility changes for the drivers and pit crews as their cars approach the stall. And, of course, always got to watch that speeding on pit road thing when you come down. Here they come. Dave?
And Joey Logano back to 5th where he pitted last time. This time they'll just take out right side tires. They want to fix the condition a little bit loose into the corner and through the bumps. Fix that up just a little bit. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick liking the feel of the tires as the run goes on. 5 seconds of fuel is the call. It's over 6 seconds, Doc.
Carl Edwards said either the track is changing a lot or I've got a tire going down. My car's gotten very loose coming off the corner. They're going to change 4 tires to be safe. Vince.
The 22 of Brad Keselowski back up on the track bar. No tires, fuel only. The 2 of Elliott Sadler, right side tires only. An air pressure adjustment and going up on the track bar as the race off pit road. It was a good one for Brad Keselowski.
Boy, in the race off pit road, a lot of pluses, a few minuses, including Carl Edwards, who decided to take 4. And the 0-1 of Mike Wallace, we can tell you, stayed out. He did not pit. And here is the race off pit road. Brad Keselowski ahead of the 33 of Kevin Harvick. Let's go on with our over-the-wall reporter. And here we go to break. Under our second caution, let's check the motorsports calendar. And NASCAR Now will be on Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN2. And for the drag racing fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Route 66 NHRA Nationals with qualifying Saturday at 9:30 Eastern and the finals Sunday at 9 Eastern, both of those on ESPN2. The American Le Mans Series has the Northeast Grand Prix Sunday at 1 Eastern on ESPN2. And our next stop on the NASCAR Nationwide Series is up at New Hampshire next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time, right here on ESPN. You know, with the Cup date coming tomorrow and the inaugural race, we decided to ask the fans their reaction to what's going on here in Kentucky.
It's the greatest place ever. We've been to Bristol, we've been to Brickyard, Kentucky. You can see the whole race.
Well, I think it's kind of homey, you know. You feel like you're at home here.
Sit there camping out all week, come up here, enjoy the race, and enjoy the camaraderie of all the fans, and seeing all this is just a really good time.
Finally, everybody's been waiting for the track. They built it. It's a great track. Drivers say they love it. We love coming here.
What do you guys think?
Oh, it's been a great place. This is probably my 4th or 5th race I've done up here, and the fans up here really support this track. And it's just a great place to watch a race.
Yeah, well, I'm a rookie here. We talk about Mark Martin. That's my first time actually being here for a race. I've tested here a lot. It is a really, really nice facility. Always puts on a great show, and I'm sure tomorrow night will be no different.
Well, Kevin Harvick came out behind Brad Keselowski. We'll tell you that Mike Wallace did lead for 1 lap. He then did pit. And now let's go back and show his pit stop, because he was not happy with the end result of coming out second behind Keselowski.
It's just a gas-only stop.
Take that long to fill it up, or were you waiting for it to burp? No, it took that long for it to fill it.
Kind of sounds funny talking about the burping part, but that's really what they have to do. They have to get that last little bit of air out of there if they want to get it totally full. They didn't wait for that this time.
Good news for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He got the lucky dog. Bad news is too fast exiting, so he's going to start at the back of the field. Up front, it's Brad Keselowski. He's taking the high side. Harvick underneath him. Then Logano, Kyle Busch, Sadler, and Annett. That's your top 6. We're green. This action continues. Harvick again has the good, solid restart. He's ahead from, as you can see, his onboard, but here comes Keselowski.
He made that inside work and made the pass off of 2 as we see him 3 wide down the front straightaway. Here comes Keselowski down the apron.
And the 2-car of Elliott Sadler manages to make it 3 wide and make it pay off, and Keselowski makes it pay off in front of him.
Oh, looks like Kyle Busch got really loose getting into 1 and 2.
Kyle running in 3rd. Remember, he started shotgun on this field. And he's got Elliott Sadler on his inside left.
See Michael Annett right there behind Elliott Sadler and Kyle Busch having a good run tonight. That pairing with Ricky Byers, his new crew chief, looks like it's paying off.
It really has for those guys since they teamed up. His results in the last 4 races, a 9th, a 19th, a 7th, and a 6th at Daytona. And of course, that 6th at Daytona could have been a win.
Yeah, I talked to Michael. He said that they're just getting to know each other better and better as they go along here, and look for him to run better. Wow, look at
all guys loose.
Out of control.
Does he have a tire issue? Because, wow, he was everywhere but straight.
Hold your line here. Get him going. Plane him off. Hold your line here.
He may have an issue, but that's just what we've been talking about. That groove is moving up some, but once you get into that gray part, there is no grip to be had right there, and you feel like you have a flat tire or a loose wheel.
You see Mark Martin and Casey Kane running that high line through that corner.
Allgaier has dropped all the way back to 18th. Let's take another look at it.
Yeah, that's just a point that you really back in the gas hard. You can see that car's just too loose right there. He wasn't even up in the gray at that time. Car's just loose on this restart.
Side-by-side action as the 20 of Joey Logano and the 62 of Michael Annett. That's the battle for 5th. Here comes Carl Edwards and Brian Scott to get into the mix. One thing we never got to give you when we went back to green, the 7 waiver rounds. Richardson, Cobb, Cook, Shepard, Cope, Hill, McClure. Now you're all updated as we have a total of 24 cars on the lead lap. While all this action continues, Jamie Little has caught up with a disappointed Will Kimmel.
Yes, he has been checked and released. What happened out there?
I'm not sure. I haven't drove these cars enough. I know I was a little free through the center of 3 there, and I know Dave was behind me. I don't know if he took the air off the spoiler or what happened, but like I said, I haven't ran these enough to know. But I caught it once, and I didn't catch it the second time, and I was afraid of this. I was just trying to make it to lap 200 tonight, and we came up short. But all the guys at Go Green Racing, they did a great job for me. You can't ask for a better group of guys, and I'm really sorry this happened for them. They didn't need this. They got 4 cars, so I put them in a hole, and it's on me, but hopefully we can do it again, so we'll see.
I asked him if he has any other races planned, and he said probably not. This was a trial. Marty?
And as we go back out on track, the 18 side by side with the 2 again, but now all of a sudden Kyle has to lift and Sadler retakes the position.
Kyle's just manhandling this car right now. I don't think it's really where he wants it. You know, they're just having to go to that backup car really kind of, I think they're paying the price for it.
I just can't get over when you go down real low on this track how rough it really is for these guys to hold on to it.
Well, but it's the issue with this coil binding, the splitter with these cars. The whole thing just in the roughness of the track just adds up to a handful if you have to go across those bumps.
Not missing anything up front. Brad Keselowski leads by 0.8 of a second. Now the 31 of Justin Allgaier, he's 19th, 10.5 seconds behind the leader. What's going on, Vince?
Well, prior to that last pit stop, Allgaier saying that he had no grip and he was too loose on entry. Things have not changed. We saw him really have his hands full, get sideways, lose some spots just a few says loose is an understatement. I have no front grip at all. Justin Allgaier, 4th in points coming in. Got his hands full right now.
The sun going down and track temperature changing, and obviously the entire surface is changing for a number of these cars. Checking in on Trevor Bayne side by side with the 62 of Michael Annett. That is for 8th position as Annett has fallen back a few spots. Here comes Casey Kane underneath him in the 7. On board with Jason Leffler. Of course, Leffler coming off his best finish of the season, 2nd last week at Daytona.
Yeah, it looked like they've made some good adjustments to this 7 car of Casey Kane here tonight, too. He struggled in those first couple of runs, but really see him working the bottom and making a pass there on Michael Annett.
Things look like they have calmed down, at least for the moment. No side-by-side action going on. Up front, it is Brad Keselowski. He is our 5th different leader. We've had 6 lead changes. His lead over Kevin Harvick, 1.1 seconds.
Join ESPN Monday night for the 2011 State Farm Home Run Derby as some of the top sluggers in baseball swing for the fences. Chris Berman returns with John Crook to announce each crack of the bat and each ball that's going. It's the 2011 State Farm Home Run Derby live from Chase Field Monday at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Home Run Derby also available online at ESPN3.com and in 3D.
Right.
Working toward the halfway point of tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Kentucky Speedway. The race leader is Brad Keselowski. Took the lead on an exchange of pit stops a few moments ago. And after a quick couple of lap duel with Kevin Harvick, has moved away from Harv by almost 1 second. Now, Carl Edwards gave up some track position on pit road because his crew, Mike Beam, his crew chief, made a 4-tire call on that pit stop, Rusty. A lot of the other teams went for fuel only or right sides. Carl gave up the track position there. Now he's trying to chip his way back forward.
Yeah, it's working really good for Carl right now. I mean, he's running about a half a second faster than those guys that put 2 tires on. So this is a good call. He's got himself all the way up in the 3rd position right now, and he's got fresher tires than most. So that, I know you got to have a gamble every now and then, and that's what the other guys did. But this has worked out for Carl very, very good right now. He did the sure thing, went for 4, full of fuel, working good for him.
All right, time to go a little further into the field and get up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Kyle Busch started at the back. He's running 5th, Dave.
On that last pit stop, Alan, he did not take any fresh tires on the car, but they did make a track bar adjustment. Prior to that, he'd reported that he couldn't change any bad condition going into the corner by the time he came out of a corner. But then, listen to this radio.
I can finally get it to react to the steering wheel, though, you know, so, you know, like if I give it a little extra wheel, it responds to it.
We may have to go back on that left rear wedge here after a while. We'll see where it goes.
I think wedge is a good thing. You might want to just, a good thing meaning less is better. You might just want to play with the right rear air pressure, a few tenths.
The first part is what counts. He's got the steering wheel back, driver 18 back in control. Meanwhile, his teammate Joey Logano in the 20 car. He restarted in the 3rd position. He's fallen back to 6th. He took 2 right side tires. That doesn't seem to work. He said, I'm so loose in now, the car behind me is not helping either. So right now, very loose for the 20 car, Doc.
Brian Scott does not have a top 5 finish this year so far, but he is running the top 5 the last 3 races in a row. At Chicagoland, with 5 laps to go, he had to pit for fuel. At Road America, he led and got punted late. And last week at Daytona, running 6th, he was hit in the door 200 yards from the start-finish line. He said, tonight is our night. First top 5, if not better car. Very good right now. Jamie.
Trevor Bayne told me earlier today he wants to give people like us in the media something else to talk about besides his Daytona 500 win and his illness earlier this season. But he's been battling this tight race car, one that has not wanted to turn. The last round of stops, his crew chief said, I know a lot of people are gambling on 2 and no tires. We're not going there. They took 4 tires. He remains in the top 10. Doc?
Ricky Stenhouse began the night 3rd on the starting grid and 3rd in the point standings, but he cut a left rear tire by running over debris in the backstretch. That dropped him back to 24th position, last car on the lead lap. They came in, made the tire change, made a chassis adjustment. He has now driven that Ford back into the top 10 in nice spot. This is the car he won with at Iowa. Dave.
With the inexperienced experienced drivers on the Junior Motorsports team, Casey Kane was hired to drive the 7 car to bring some veteran experience. His experience so far tonight, well, not that great. However, the last time he came down pit road, they removed a spring rubber from the right rear and made an air pressure adjustment for a very loose race car. The report, better. That's good information from a guy who should know, Alan.
All right, David, thanks. Still shy of halfway here at Kentucky. 22 cars on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski, seeking his first win of the year, is out in front.
Back here at Kentucky Speedway, a 2-car incident brings out our 3rd caution, one involving Robert Richardson. And tough luck again for the 11 of Brian Scott. He was running in 9th position. You can see the damage to the back end of both these cars. Happened over in turn number 2.
See them side by side here. Brian Scott was trying to go around the 23. Looks like he just, classic case of getting a little bit loose. You get on the inside at that speed, takes some air off.
On board from Casey Kane.
You see right there, that's a real tricky part of the racetrack, going over that bump, especially if you got the car pretty free. And then you drive inside of somebody, and that arrow effect just takes him right around.
All right, guys, get the tires changed here. Get the tires changed first here.
So we're going to get another round of pit stops, and Dave, we're going to send it to you first again.
Kyle Busch's car was loose into the corner, even though he had that steering wheel control. They'll go down on the track bar just a bit. 4-tire change. He didn't take any tires last time, Jamie.
The balance is good on the 33s, and I don't know what to tell you to make us faster. 4 tires this time, and he needs a little rear grip, Doc.
Carl Edwards, 4 tires, putting scuff tires on, the only set of scuffs they have. 1 round down on the track bar and clean the grill. Vince.
The 22 of Brad Keselowski took no tires last time. They'll put 4 tires on it this time, go up a half round on the track bar. Keselowski really likes the car, but he says it's just a tick tight up off.
And as they come off of pit road, it is going to be Brad Keselowski first, Kevin Harvick second. In fact, the top 6 come out exactly the way they went in. Michael Annett picks up 4. Good stop for the 62 crew. Elliott Sadler's team loses 1, comes out 9th. Stay with us.
Our 5-hour Energy Rapid Recap, catching you up on what's happened in the first half of tonight's race. Well, this happened before the race.
Yeah, Kyle Busch was making a qualifying run, just lost it off of turn 4, got in the wall, destroyed the back of his primary car. Now he's in a backup.
And boy, did he make a charge. Went from the back to 25th by lap 5, to 20th by lap 10, to 15th by lap 30. He was 14th by the first pit stop at lap number 44. Championship contender Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Had a right rear tire or something go down. Was running really well at the time, but was trying to get down pit road, trying to get it woed up, and took a little lazy spin here. Finally did make it down pit road and got 4 brand new Goodyears on.
Got a free pass. He's back in contention. This racetrack has given some of these drivers hands full tonight behind the wheel. Bumping and bouncing around, slipping and sliding.
Yeah, it's real bumpy here. One of the roughest racetracks in all of NASCAR. But, man, it's exciting. It's got a lot of character to it. The drivers don't mind it.
And get up onto that dark groove where the rubber's really been worn into the pavement. You're going for a slide.
And you are going for a ride, whether you want to or not. Turn 3, going into 4. Really, really bumpy, really, really slick. Once you get up out of the black stuff, the nice sticky rubber, it's nothing but marbles, baby.
Even the best. That's Mark Martin in that 32 car. Hanging on out there in tricky turn number 3. And we are almost ready to go back racing in the NASCAR Nationwide Series Feed the Children 300 here at Kentucky Speedway. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all of your latest NASCAR information. A couple of twists of plot under this most recent caution flag here at Kentucky. One involves championship leader Reed Sorensen. He was 12th coming down pit road. He would have restarted 10th.
Oh, man.
But
poor fella just cannot get a break in this race car. And I don't want to jinx him. We don't want to talk about the bad luck he's had, but they forgot to take the wrench out of the race car.
And Mike Bliss, when he left his pit stall, was carrying something with him that he wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah, he's got the jack stuck under the left side of his car, and as he left pit road, it flew out, went out in the grass, and that's carrying equipment out of the box, and that is a penalty.
All right, so get ready for a restart with 95 laps to go. Brad Keselowski has chosen the outside lane on Kevin Harvick. People we mentioned there in our recap, Mark Martin's running 10th, Stenhouse Jr. is running 11th, and Reed Sorensen's going to find himself back in 20th place after that little whoops. Mike Bliss is in 19th after they go to the back of the field for equipment out of the pit box.
This is where I really love it, Al. A little 100-lap shootout. This is like Friday night racing at its best.
It is Friday night racing.
There you go,
and
baby.
It's been good.
Let's
Here we
get
go.
it.
Green, green, green.
Side by side down the backstretch, Kevin Harvick down low, and the 22 of Brad Keselowski. One other thing we want to tell you, Brian Scott. No, another spin. The 89 of Morgan Shepherd goes around and hits the front hard, and that'll bring out our 4th caution. I was just about ready to tell you the good news for Brian Scott was he was able to stay on the lead lap through that caution period. They pounded on the back of that car, and here we are going to have to pound on the front of the 89.
Yeah, Morgan doesn't need this. He doesn't have a lot of funding on this car. Doesn't really need to lose one.
Let's go back and see exactly what happened to Morgan. He's going to get turned from the right rear there. That's Charles Lewandowski in that 40 car. Oh, that inside wall. Could have slid another maybe 15-20 feet. It might not have hit that. Well, no safer barrier on the inside walls here at Kentucky, and there's the mark where he hit. We were talking about if he could have made another 15 feet.
Wouldn't have had to take much for him to miss that. That's too bad. I didn't see that from Morgan.
Well, the window net's down, and the safety crew's talking to Morgan, and he's moving around, so things look good for him. They don't look so good for his race car. So we're under our 4th caution, and we'll wind it up again when we come back to the Kentucky Speedway with 94 to go. Under the lights tonight at Kentucky Speedway as the sun set, the action has been building. We have a total of 5 leaders, 6 lead changes, but we also have now 10 cars with damage in this race or that have pulled behind the wall with other various issues. The last one being Morgan Shepherd. We can tell you he did walk away from the car under his own power. There he was climbing out, the 69-year-old, one of the fittest 69-year-olds you'll ever find. So good news for Morgan, but bad news, as we said, for his race car. We've knocked down 109 laps here out of 200, and problems for Elliott Sadler as they came back in to pit road, and they were pounding under the left or the right rear wheel. We're checking right now to get the details on it. He has now dropped back farther in the field, which is a break for Reed Sorensen. Remember, these two are 1-2 in the points. And let's take a look at the 30 car right now, as there is Reed, and he has not had much success in the times that he has run in this car. Remember the wedge wrench right there. And here's the radio.
Give us much time to talk, did they? Well, you got to come back to me, bud. Something every week. Get the wedge wrench out of the damn window and get the adjustment right. You're just kidding, right? I'm not kidding. I'm sorry, dude. No, you're just kidding.
Let's take a look at the graphic on how he's done when he's in the 32 versus the 30. This is the last time he's got to run this 30 car, and you can see absolutely no top 10s, 12 of them, including the win at Road America when he's in the 32 car. He has taken the high road on this. I asked him this morning, I said, you know, did you ask or did you insist, hey, keep me in the 32? He says, no. He says, that was the plan all along. This is my last race, and we're a team. And guys, what do you think?
Well, I think in the big picture, you can have Mark Martin in that car and what that does to bring sponsorship to the team. I think in the big picture, it helps the team, and I think that Reed's smart enough to understand that. And although he doesn't want to get out of that 32, it's been good to him this year.
Yeah, and anytime you make a change like that as a driver, it's an adjustment. But as you said, Reed is doing a very nice job of handling this entire situation and is still going to come out of here with a very good chance of winning this championship.
Well, we've got the update on what happened to Elliott Sadler, and he is coming back into the pit lane. And Vince, what have you got?
Well, the night started so promising for Elliott Sadler, led the first 8 laps, but they've been having some issues. They thought maybe the track bar mount was broken, but they have found now that it is just rubbing. Let's find out more about that and how you address it with Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage.
Thanks, Vince. First of all, when you're lowering that track bar, what you're trying to do is move the pivot point all the way down to this area right here. But by doing that, you put a phenomenal amount of pressure on the tire, meaning the deflection. As the tire adheres to the racetrack, it moves the sidewall closer to this area right here. And if they had it down there and it had a tremendous amount of load and side force on that car, it was actually rubbing the side of the sidewall of the tire. Guys?
All right, thank you, Tim. Let's update you on some other issues. Lucky Dog went to David Ruderman. Remember, he was 2 laps down, 1 waiver round, and now the Lucky Dog gets him back on the lead lap. We have 23 cars on the lead lap. There's Edwards and Kyle Busch. They're in row number 2 behind Keselowski and Harvick. And then further back, you can see as the cars come down the front straightaway, Keselowski took the high side, as everybody has done tonight. We're green again here at Kentucky.
Has, but through 1 and 2, he's been able to really just fly through there wide open and get the lead in the exit turn 2. It looks like Keselowski's going to work him on the high side here.
We still have them 3 wide coming through 3 and 4. A little bit further back in the field as here they come for the stripe. Who's going to lead the lap? It looks like Keselowski does maintain the position.
Yeah, Harvick tried to get in the gas, did get in the gas really hard, really early, but his car jumped up the racetrack, wasn't able to stay in the throttle, and Brad got the lead back.
So it's Harvick, Edwards behind Keselowski, then Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. That's your top 5. How about if we check in on Trevor Bayne trying to go around Joey for that spot? And behind him, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Remember when he was a lap down after cutting the tire? He is side by side with Jason Leffler in the 38 and Mark Martin back to life in the 32. He's running in 9th. Joey managing to hold off the 16 of Bayne.
Yeah, you can see just how rough that 16 car of Trevor Bayne really bouncing across there and just not able to put the throttle down.
While this action continues, Dr. Jerry Punch is caught up with Morgan Shepherd.
Well, Marty Morgan just told me he is okay coming out of the hospital, but he is very, very angry. Morgan, what happened?
Well, to tell you the truth, I couldn't really tell who it was, but they tell me it was the 40 car that got into me and started pushing me. If they would have let me go, they knocked me sideways there a couple times and just kind of stayed into me, and it just lost it from being banged around.
It was the 40 car, we're being told, Morgan. Your car repairable now for next week?
Nah, it's not for next week. It won't be. I had to go to my backup car, but, you know, this is tough. We operate with just what we get at the track, and I've had 4 bad weeks now, and this is just hard.
Morgan Shepherd, a veteran of this series the past 29 years. Marty?
Yeah, and Morgan, a fan favorite just for that reason, Jerry. As you pointed out, he comes because he loves to race. He's not making a fortune off of this by any stretch of the imagination. Out on the track, Stenhouse and his teammate Trevor Bayne going door to door as they're knocking each other down for that 6th position. And Stenhouse, he's got himself a good race car.
I think he's got a really fast car. He's had to really fight back trying to get back from that flat tire. And he's using a lot of race car to get back to the front. I think if he gets there, he's got something for the leader.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing right there. He had a good friend in Trevor Bayne, too, because he used up a lot of racetrack in making that pass. But he does have a fast car.
Well, let's get an update on Trevor Bayne. Jamie, what are you hearing?
Well, you guys, when these Roush cars unload each weekend, the 16 is different than the 6 and the 60. Well, tonight his car has been ill handling, so they've actually gone to the air pressure adjustments that the 6 and the 60 have done. A big swing, something this team doesn't usually do, and it's helping. The car has come to life. As you see Michael Annette on your screen there on the left side battling with Reed Sorensen.
And Sorensen's going to take that spot away from him, Jamie, and Sorensen rallying back. He has moved into the 13th position.
I really like the way that Reed has handled that. You know, he could have blown up, got mad about the wrench being stuck in there and having to start back in 20th and actually have to start behind the lap cars. He got that break with that caution now, and he's able to move his way back into the top 15.
What's really helped him is Elliott Sadler's issues, because Sadler's back in 20th. And so that's helping him in the points battle. Checking in on Casey Kane and Justin Allgaier. That is for the 10th spot on the racetrack. Meanwhile, as we go back to the front of the field, there is the 22 of Brad Keselowski. And right now, fastest lap times. In fact, he's turning them in right now, Vince. What's the story?
Well, you know, when your car is really good, drivers just seem to be in a great mood. I'm sure DJ can relate to that. Right now, he's using, Keselowski's using phrases like smoking fast and rocket ship in describing his car. Says he feels like it's getting faster every lap. So he's in a pretty good mood as he was talking about a recent restart and how he handles it.
Kyle just said you got some goof 3-stars. You've been watching him too long. Man, I haven't done anything goofy yet. Ain't seen nothing yet, man. I've been just nice, slow, steady. This way they say it should be in the rule book, man. You know me, man. Just legal beagle. Oh, yeah. All right, you're the president.
Brad Keselowski having some fun with his spotter, Joey Meyer. These guys have been spot on all night long. He's been third here the last 2 years. He's got a car that's going to be better than that if he can keep it going the way he's had it the last several laps.
And Vince, this is the most laps that Brad has led in a race since he led 83 back in his last win at Gateway in October of last year. And he's led 54 tonight.
Yeah, and I think something that's helping him, because this 22 car, they've struggled some this year in this series. I believe what they found with the 22 and 2 on the Cup side, they've transferred some of that over here, and I believe that's a big benefit. So watch for those two Dodges to be fast tomorrow night, too.
Yeah, you're starting to see some of that crossover from the Cup technology over here, because these cars are more similar. They're not the same. They have a lot of things that are different, but they are more similar to the Sprint Cup cars this year.
Rusty, you've got an observation on temperature?
Yeah, Marty, we talked about that when it gets cool out here, the cars really get much quicker. When it gets nighttime, it's going to change a lot. Well, we've been monitoring Brad Keselowski. He qualified at a 31.17 lap. He just ran a 31.06. Right now, he's running faster in race condition than he did in qualifying. So that's how much speed is in the track right now. And you can see the lights are on here at the Speedway. The track temperature is cooling down big time. And as Andy well knows and DJ does, things are going to change the way these cars handle. So the next 78 laps, in my opinion, are going to be very, very crucial. These guys are really going to think what they need to do to keep up with the changing track conditions.
Good observation, Rusty, as you watch Brad Keselowski. He has a 2.1 second lead over Kevin Harvick. Harvick's led 57 laps, and now I should say Keselowski's now led 57, Harvick 56. Quarterfinals of the FIFA Women's World Cup begin on ESPN Saturday. 2 games. First, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. It's England against France. And at 2:15 p.m., it's Germany and Japan. FIFA Women's World Cup on ESPN Saturday. Both games are available also on ESPN3.com. Here at the Kentucky Speedway, Brad Keselowski has got a 1.7 second lead over Kevin Harvick. A total of 23 cars still on the lead lap, and 10 cars are out of this race. In third place, you've got Carl Edwards. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the move. He is up to 4th. He has gotten around Kyle Busch, who started dead last in this field. There's Logano, Bain, Leffler, Martin, and Kane, your top 10. Now let's check in as we go up to speed from 11 on back. And for Justin Allgaier, he'd like to give his crew chief, Jimmy Elledge, a birthday present. He's going to turn 41 next Thursday, but what do they got to do it, Vince?
Well, they got to get a race car that handles a little better than what they've been dealing with throughout the course of the night tonight. It's been wicked loose for Justin Allgaier, who won at Chicagoland last month, almost won at Road America a couple of weeks ago, had a solid 5th place finish last week at Daytona, but they have been trying to get a handle on this car. They changed track bar, they've made shock adjustments, they've done a little bit of everything to try to tighten this thing up, but it hasn't been easy for Justin Allgaier, the 31. Dave Burns?
Vince, he just got past Casey Kane in that green number 7. He hasn't been feeling that great about the handling, but he just radioed in about 3 laps ago. You know, the better I run, the longer I run, the better it gets. I seem to be gaining grip. Could it be that nighttime thing Rusty was talking about?
Put it up high. Now just come back down. Watch it. Right there in front of you. Keep coming. Keep coming.
23 of Robert Richardson has smashed the back half of that car.
Yeah, he definitely shortened it up that time.
Second incident that he has been involved in. Remember the last one he was in with Brian Scott, and that looks like a hybrid right now.
Yeah, he finished it off there. Woo. Man, look at that.
Looks like an old Volkswagen.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good lick.
So this is our 5th caution, as we are now with 67 laps to go, and it looks like Robert's not going to be able to get it back to pit lane. Now, 67, that's still outside the window for being able to make this.
Yeah, but you're going to have to set yourself up for the end of the race. You need to make a pit stop here to kind of set the stage for maybe making a late race gas start.
All right, here's the view we have as we go on board with Jason Leffler now. Keep an eye up front.
See up in that gray area right there. He was trying to give those cars below him a little bit of room, but
gave him a little too much.
Grip. Yes.
And we mentioned how it looked at the end result.
It's about 3 feet shorter than it started.
I can tell you Derek Cope's going to get the lucky dog, but he's 2 laps down. He'll be 1 lap down after this. And as they come down pit road, let's send it to Jamie Little.
Well, Kevin Harvick didn't really want to change any tires, and his crew chief said, let's change 4. And then they decided, let's take 1 can of fuel, and we'll do right sides only. Still a little bit too free, but he wants to get some track position here. Doc?
Middle of your screen, Carl Edwards, and it's okay under throttle, but it's loose off throttle when I'm rolling in. So they're going to put 4 tires on it, 2 rounds down in the left rear. Bottom of your screen, Ricky Stenhouse, also chassis adjustment on the 6 car, 4 tires. Remember, Stenhouse has come all the way from the back of the pack into the top 5. Vince.
The 22 of Brad Keselowski, you saw him just go by your screen. Fuel only. They put a piece of tape on the grill. They believe their tires are good all the way to the end, but they might need a splash.
Race off pit road. Keselowski and Harvick maintain station. As you see, 9 positions picked up by Reed Sorensen. Now we can tell you Joe Nemechek stayed out. We'll see if he stays out even longer. Smile on Joey Logano's face is because he has dominated Kentucky Speedway, winning here 3 straight years, every single one of them where he started on pole. Now he started 4th tonight, and he's in current 9th position. And let's talk to him as he's our in-race reporter.
Hey Joey, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
And 4, I got you.
All right, man. Car doesn't look too bad, but a little more of a struggle than what we're used to seeing from you here. What are you fighting, and what do you need to get up there front and challenge for that 4th win?
We've been fighting loose in pretty much all night, like a lot of cars have around us too. That time we got it fixed, but now we can't turn the center good enough. So we're working on it. You know, now we're kind of back here in traffic, so let's see what happens here. We got 4 tires, and a lot of those guys just took fuel, so. It'll be pretty interesting here. Hopefully we can get through the traffic here and get back up there at Keselowski and Harvick and duke it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. We're having fun watching. Has it been more of a struggle to make passes on the inside than maybe what you anticipated?
Yeah, this tire is too good, you know? I mean, it's just, you get underneath them, and the guy on the outside has got such an advantage there. It's just revving up the outside so good, so. It makes it really tough to pass, so I'm a little nervous about the start here, but we're going to try to make the most of it here and get him quick.
Okay, buddy. 1 to go. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
All right, let's update you. We told you Joe Nemechek stayed out. He eventually did pit, similar to what Mike Wallace did. There were 4 waiver rounds coming. Clements, Dick, McClure, and Cobb. We have 23 cars on the lead lap. Let's check the motorsports calendar. NASCAR Now will be on Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN2, and then drag racing from the Route 66 O'Reilly Auto Parts NHRA Nationals, qualifying Saturday at 9:30 Eastern. The finals Sunday at 9 Eastern, both of those on ESPN2. The American Le Mans Series, the Northeast Grand Prix, that's Sunday at 1 Eastern, also on ESPN2. And then our next stop, the NASCAR Nationwide Series at New Hampshire, next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN. Let's listen in on Brad Keselowski. They're going to try and save some fuel.
So we need to make about 6 more laps here before we can be good. If another yellow comes out, 6 laps, you going to take it?
Save me what you can under caution. Another yellow comes out, that may put us in our window.
Copy.
When we come to green, this time by, there will be 62 laps remaining. I just don't see how anybody's going to be able to do it.
It's outside of everybody's normal pit window if they just run as hard as they can. But we've seen before that these teams can really stretch that if they need to.
All right,
what it comes down to.
Let's reset it for you. It's Brad Keselowski, the race leader. He's taking the high side. Harvick down below. Then it's Martin, Allgaier, Sorensen, Edwards, Almirola, Kyle Busch, Logano, and Stenhouse. That's your top 10, and we're green. Down the backstretch. And remember when Mark Martin was mired back in the middle of the field? And look at him now, getting close to money time. And here he is in the 4th position. Reed Sorensen also rallying. Remember, he had the problem with the wrench still in the car.
Yeah, you see all 3 of those Turner cars with the strategy they employed right up there, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now.
It's kind of like what we talked about at the beginning of the show is just, do all your adjustments, try to get your tires with it early in the race. With this tire being so good, you can stay out on them and run still real fast laps. We've seen Keselowski. I can't remember the last time he changed tires.
Kyle Busch, we can tell you, has moved up to the 7th spot. There you see him back there. As he continues to run side by side there with the 60 of Carl Edwards. Now he falls in behind him. Saw Elliott Sadler go through the screen there. He has moved up to the 11th position, guys. Remember, he at one time was about, 18th in this field?
Yeah, we talked about him and Reed Sorensen. We see Kyle Busch go around Carl Edwards now coming out of turn 4. But I think that shows experience on Reed Sorensen and Elliott Sadler. That's why they're at the top of the points. They don't panic in these situations. They just wait and try to take advantage and let the race kind of come to them, knowing they can get themselves back into that top 10.
You mentioned Carl, and we talked about the fact he needed to lead just 1 lap to crack 5,000. He did that, actually coming onto pit road for caution. So not the way he wanted to get it, but there you go. How about all 3 Rusty Wallace cars together? The 66, Stephen, with David Rudiman. Boy, Rudiman has had to do yeoman's work. He was 2 laps down at one point in this race, and right now he finds himself in 17th.
Yeah, well, I think Rusty would probably tell you that this is what he strives for, all 3 of his cars running together. Maybe a little further up than 16th, 17th, and 18th, though.
These 3 running lockstep. You see Mike Bliss in the 19 behind him. Bliss was the one who had the jack issue, so he served his penalty. He's trying to work his way back towards the front. Right side of your screen, you got Joey Logano and Trevor Bayne in the 16 going after each other. That is for 8th position.
Yeah, if we go a lot of laps under green, this is really going to get interesting. Not necessarily from the fuel standpoint, that could play out, but because we got so many drivers as far as different strategies with tires. No tires, 2 tires, and 4 tires. Be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, because we're going to see some cars, Keselowski in particular, is just going to put a lot of laps on their tires. I'm not sure how they're going to hold up. We know they've held up pretty well so far. It's going to be interesting to see how they hold up at the end of this race. Vince?
Well, you mentioned the Rusty Wallace cars running there, and certainly on the left side of the screen was Stephen Wallace and David Rudiman. Rudiman's been a nice addition to that team for Rusty, giving a veteran leadership and a sense of car understanding and control with the car. And they've taken the first half of this season and they've put changes toward these new cars for the second half. Stephen Wallace rolled off with a brand new car this weekend. He's been fast. They feel like they're going to make some significant strides in the second half of the season of what they've learned the first half. We'll see.
All right, Vince, and one of the things, we're talking about this fuel economy. Well, the longest green flag stretch in the history of this event has been just 31 laps. We have 55 to go. And now you see Michael Annett putting a move on his teammate. They're side by side. On the right side of your screen, Logano and Bayne side by side.
And see just how difficult it is to make and complete that pass from the inside. We heard Joey Logano tell us that it was more difficult than he anticipated. This racetrack's just so rough. See him get a little bit of a run now. He wants to hear clear from his spotter right there.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also in this mix. In the 7 of Casey Kane. We're on board with Casey.
Casey's worked hard tonight. I've seen him in a lot of situations and really fighting this car to try to get a decent finish. He's back there in 11th trying to crack the top 10.
Remember, Ricky Stenhouse in that 6 had battled his way back up into the top 5. They elected to take 4 tires that last time. Lost some of that track position, but moving back forward once again.
And here comes Kane following Stenhouse around the 16 of Trevor Bayne. looks like Kane wants a piece of Stenhouse, and they're side by side. 52 laps remaining. We're just about 3/4 of the way through tonight's race. And here comes Elliott Sadler back into the mix. He's in the 12th position. These are the best battles we have going on the racetrack right now. The lead is still Brad Keselowski over Kevin Harvick. And Harvick, he's closed the gap a little bit.
Yeah, he's not letting that 22 car get away at all. I mean, he has been shadowing him since the restart. I'm not sure that he hadn't been maybe holding a little back, or maybe the track's coming to him here.
On board with Harvick, and right behind Harvick, 2.7 seconds back, is Justin Allgaier. Remember, Allgaier, he needs a big night to get back into the points championship. He's got it going right now. Back here at Kentucky Speedway with 45 laps to go, Brad Keselowski now has a 1.2-second lead over Kevin Harvick. And there you see Harvick right behind in that 33 Ring Chevrolet. Third place is Justin Allgaier. He's 3.5 seconds back. Kyle Busch is 4.2 back, and Carl Edwards rounds out your top 5. And Andy, you guys during the break were starting to speculate.
Yeah, we're seeing some of these gaps, close and then open back up between the leaders. I really think that maybe Keselowski was saving some fuel early in that run when we saw Harvick really drive right up to the rear bumper. And then it looked like it just any time that the 22 could pull away a little bit. And I think Harvick noticed it. I think he saw what was going on, and he's kind of backed off a little bit. I saw his lap times drop off about 0.3. I think now he's saving fuel.
Let me update you one other thing. During the break, Elliott Sadler got around Reed Sorensen, so Sadler's now 10th, Sorensen's 12th, and that is important because of the points championship. The margin right now is down to 6. These guys going after each other. Here comes Kyle Busch. Whoa, that was close, as he was pressing third place Justin Allgaier.
And if you'll remember, in Chicago, we saw this 31 car, Justin Allgaier, get really good fuel mileage. Even though he ran out of gas coming to get the checkered flag, he got it first, coasting.
Coming up on some slower traffic, that's Eric McClure. McClure is 3 laps down in 26th position.
This looks like last week.
That's exactly what I was thinking. These boys are confused.
Boy, and then he pulls in and gets around Justin Allgaier. So move Kyle Busch up to 3rd. Remember, he started shotgun on the field. As he keeps looking towards the front, let's check in again on our top stories and our race leader, Brad Keselowski. You started off, Vince.
Well, Keselowski has led 90 laps. He's had 0 problems so far today. He says his car is a rocket ship. The biggest problem they had today was during the morning practice when he got into some water on the warm-up lane and spun the car after just 1 lap. They were fortunate that there was only very minor damage done. Had a lot of dirt and grass up under the car, but they did not have to go to a backup. That may have been the turning point in the weekend for Keselowski. They kept the primary car, and it has been blistering fast. Crew Chief Todd Gordon says we've shot ourselves in the foot too many times this season. We need to put it all together tonight. So far, they've done it. Jamie?
And Kevin Harvick's car, the 33, started off blistering fast early in this race, but he started to get tight. They were able to get that balance back in check, but his biggest problem, the 22 just came to life. Kevin Harvick telling his team before the last stop, whoo, he gets close to the wall. Tells him, I don't know what to do to make me faster, guys. The car is good. He has new right side tires, Dave.
Did you see Kyle Busch ride the rear bumper of Justin Allgaier down the front straightaway a few laps ago? He did not like the way Allgaier raced him and cut him off when he was trying to pass him. So I believe he delivered a message back to him. Kyle right now says the car is the best it's been, but you know what? The way they were dominant in the older car in the mile-and-a-half tracks, Jason Ratcliffe told me this weekend, it's just not the same. We're still trying to get our hands around this car. So Kyle is slowly, but not slowly making up time on the leaders, Doc.
Guys, this has been a very, very difficult week for Ricky Stenhouse's crew chief, Mike Kelly, who lost his mom, Janet, this past Monday on July 4th. Now, he said, I knew my mom was ill, was battling a chronic illness. I knew it was coming, but it is never easy when you lose your mom. A lot of people on this team wanted him to take the week off. But Mike said, you know what? This is what I do for a living, and my mom would want me to be here. He said, but it is very tough right now focusing. He said, Ricky knows how badly I want us to win this race tonight. And if we would win it, he said, I would lose it in victory lane because my thoughts would be of my mom. Marty?
Well, he has got 38 laps to go to fulfill that hope for that team. And Ricky Stenhouse, after being a lap down, is that close. 6 seconds behind the race leader.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Kentucky is brought to you by Verizon 4G LTE, built so you can rule the air.
What a beautiful sight here at Kentucky Speedway. 106,000 seats. This time last year there were 60,000 seats here, and we've got 32 laps to go. And this place is sold out tomorrow night for the inaugural Cup race, and right now the fans have seen a great one here as the strategy continues to unfold. Tip of the hat to Mike Wallace. We told you at the beginning of the broadcast, his 400th career start. He has 4 wins in the series. He's running in the lead lap, 22nd spot. Total of 23 cars still on the lead lap here in this race. All right, let's talk a little bit strategy. Brad Keselowski has a 0.6 of a second lead, and what are you hearing, Vince?
Yep. Brad Keselowski conserving fuel, but the team warning him about those coming behind when he does.
He's not going to let you save because Kyle's coming in a hurry when we started slowing down. 20 behind Harvick is Kyle.
Before I got you about 5 laps of saving. I don't know what that's worth.
You know, the interesting thing, guys, is Brad Keselowski, he knows how it works. He just called out for crew chief of the 33, David Hyder, saying, I know you're listening. I might let you get close, but I'm not going to let you get by.
Yeah, I think that's what we were seeing. You know, I was looking at Harvick and how he could just close right up to Keselowski, but he just couldn't make a run on him. And it finally hit me that they were probably both playing a little cat and mouse game, saving fuel.
Behind Harvick in third is Kyle Busch. He is 2.4 seconds behind the race lead. Dave?
Marty, they've been discussing their fuel situation to the end of the race. Listen.
When do I need to give you 3 laps? Maybe with 25 to go. I think that is, you're not very sure. No, I'm sure. I just want you to stay in front of the 60 right now. Do what you got to do to stay in front of the 60.
There you go. Save me 3 laps and we can get to the end.
Well, and remember, he led only the final 3 laps when he went to a backup car and fell to the rear when he won here back in 2004. That's exactly what has happened tonight. He has yet to lead a lap, but he is still in the hunt.
I'm telling you, they've done a good job tonight. You know, that car was, like I said, a backup car, and they didn't know what to expect. Had to come in and make an adjustment, raise the hood, and adjust the front jack screws. And Kyle's done just an amazing job of keeping this thing in contention as they keep making these adjustments on pit stops. And I think they got the car pretty good now.
0.7 of a second further back is Carl Edwards, so no real pressure at this moment. But there is some action going on right there. Alec Almirola has got a mirror full, and now it's on the left side of him of the 38 of Jason Leffler. That's for 12th.
See just how difficult it is. Leffler had a nice run going down into the corner. As rough as it was, though, we keep talking about that, but that's what makes it so difficult. Might make that run into the corner, but now you can see Jason Leffler going to try that high side and keep his momentum, see if he can get back to the 88.
And you saw from the outside shot, a tip of the hat to Brian Scott. Remember, he was involved in one of our 5 cautions, and he has managed to hold on to 14th position there in the number 11. Let's go back up front. Brad Keselowski's lead is now a half a second over Kevin Harvick. You can see both of them there. Let's check in with Kevin Harvick's camp. Jamie?
And this is the man Brad Keselowski just called out, David Hyder. David, I heard you guys say you're going to be about 6 laps short. What do you do now? Do you let him keep charging and try to get around Brad at this point and use up fuel?
Well, it's going to be close. I mean, fuel's going to be an issue here towards the end of the race, and tires haven't become an issue. It's going to be the fuel. So.
Are you telling him to save right now?
Yeah. I told him to save under caution, but we got to go because we got people coming up on us. So it's going to be really close. We might take a chance. I don't know. It's our shot to take a chance, and that's probably what we're going to do here.
Tough decision, Marty. Take the chance and go for the lead, right?
Well, we're going to find out as it continues to unfold. Remember, the longest green flag stretch ever here was 31 laps to finish the race. We are now down to 24 laps to go. How far can the fuel go? And who wins? Stay with us to find out. Back here at Kentucky Speedway, 18 laps to go. There's first and second in your screen. The lap time's around 31.9 seconds. Here was Brad on the radio.
Hey, Hyder, I know you're listening. I'm just going to keep slowing down so you get near me. Push us both. You're on us both out of gas here. Either Hyder or little Eddie listening. I wouldn't want to be the guy that ran Kevin Harvick out of gas.
So he's sticking it in Kevin Harvick's crew chief, knowing he's listening.
Talking to Harvick's crew chief. Man, I didn't know you guys could actually think and drive at the same time.
Well, you can have a great sense of humor when you got a fast race car, I can tell you that. So Brad's having a good time here tonight.
Well, take a look here, because leader in the most laps has failed to win 5 of the last 6 races. Keselowski's led 115. Harvick led 56. All right, Andy, let's talk a little bit about Chicago, because this is a very similar situation.
Yeah, it's very similar. The last time they pitted at Chicago was at lap 140. That's 60 laps to go. They pitted here with at lap 134 with 66 to go. I don't know what they've done since then to try to get better mileage and make it this far, but we saw the 2 leaders run out of fuel and coast across the line there. I'm not sure that – I think it's really optimistic for all these teams to think that they can make it that far. You can see when we talked to Hyder, he didn't seem very confident. You know, he's talking about maybe rolling the dice, but he didn't sound very confident.
Well, 6 laps is a lot to be trying to save on a 1.5 mile racetrack.
And you can see that Harvick has dropped back a little bit. Part of that might be the lap traffic, but more likely they're trying to save some fuel.
Well, it's hard to save fuel when you're trying to race somebody. You see these 2 guys, that's why you heard Keselowski talking to him. Hey, let's both slow down. If you keep coming up here, I'm going to keep pulling away. So you're just wasting fuel by coming up to my rear bumper. At the same time, you got cars behind that are coming. I've seen Stenhouse. He's about the fastest car on the track, has been since the last time they pitted. So they got to keep an eye out on the rear, too, to see these guys coming to them. So it's kind of a difficult situation.
Drop back to third. It's 2.1 seconds behind. That's Carl Edwards. Doc, what are you hearing?
Yeah, behind those front 2 cars are 2 Roush Fenway cars, Carl Edwards and Ricky Stenhouse. Now, remember, Carl Edwards ran out of fuel with a 1/2 lap to go at Chicagoland. They think they are about 5 laps shy on fuel here. But you know what? They can gamble because they're not running for a championship. Yeah, they want to win the owner's title. They're not running for a championship. And remember how good Carl is at saving fuel. They may or may not gamble right now. Mike Beam is trying to make the call and think about it. Now, behind them is Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky is 3rd in the point standings. His crew chief, Mike Kelly, says we can ill afford to gamble with 23 cars still on the lead lap. If we run out of gas, we will lose a lot of points in this championship race. So we're going to have to come in and pit with about 10 to go.
Yeah, I know all the new Ford trucks make more horsepower and have better fuel mileage, but I'm not sure Doug Yates does that with his new engine here. We'll have to see. Dave?
DJ, Kyle Busch has fallen back 2 positions. He's saving fuel. And if you think this is a seat of the pants thing, go by the field. Listen to this radio conversation.
All right, bud. I need 3 laps. How much is that? Is that 100 feet? Is it 200 feet? What is it? We're estimating close to 200.
I heard it first from Joey Logano's crew. Then I heard it from Kyle. Exact amounts. The engineers have this down, guys. They know how they want their guys to lift going into the corner in order to save an exact amount of fuel.
Yeah, and to give you an idea of the importance of those guys that are fighting for the championship, Elliott Sadler is now in the 8th position. Reed Sorensen, who came in with the points lead, is all the way back in 15th, running 32.3-second laps. And right now, the points differential would be 1.
Yeah, and I've seen Elliott Sadler in the last 10 or 11 laps really back his times down, too. He let Trevor Bayne go, and he's really shut that back about 3.5 to 4 tenths a lap. So I think he's in a situation where he's trying to save a lot.
Well,
you see Harvick here now.
Yeah, Harvick looks like he wants to pick up the pressure.
Well, this is what we've seen before. Let's just see what happens. He's able to drive right up to the bumper. We'll see if Keselowski's car is fast enough to stay in front of him, and if he's going to try to pull back out on Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, Keselowski's other thing is he didn't change any tires that last time, so his car may be giving up some.
We could tell you that 30 of Reed Sorensen went into pit lane, so he came in for fuel. Also the 38 of Jason Leffler, as here are the race leaders still going after each other, even though it's a 32-second lap.
Yeah, this is a cat and mouse game with these two leaders. They're just trying to gamble on this fuel and stretch it as far as they can.
Yeah, Carl Edwards is coming hard right behind them too, and none of these three have anything to lose. They're not racing for any points, but you got Stenhouse there in fourth. He has a battle there.
53 green flag laps. We've got 9 remaining here. And remember, the longest green flag stretch ever here, 31 laps. Brian Scott has also come to pit road for fuel. David Ruderman has come to pit road for fuel. The 2 front runners are staying out.
We really haven't focused on Carl Edwards as far as him saving fuel. Right here. But he has been running faster lap times than these two leaders.
Yeah, and I think you're talking about the points battle when Reed Sorensen pitted. I think that kind of opened things up for Elliott Sadler, who's in second in the points, that maybe he can gamble a little bit because Reed's already pitted.
Here comes the 32 of Mark Martin, Doc.
3 seconds of fuel is all Mark Martin wanted, running his 235th career start and final start of 2011. Wanting to get a top 10 finish, is not a win. And the 60 car will come down pit road, as will his teammate Ricky Stenhouse. Both of these cars needing only 3 seconds of fuel. Fuel only, they will count it off. Jamie.
Well, Kevin Harvick, he saved some fuel. He was 2 laps short was the last word they got. And Kevin said, if anybody pits behind us, we've got to pit. David Hyder just told him, pit next time.
Sure, you're only 2 short? Yeah, we're 2 short.
So now the question becomes,
pit this time. Pit this time.
You heard the call, pit this time.
That's tough to hear that when you saved fuel or tried to save fuel when you could have run faster during this run.
Next time by the stripe, there will only be 5 laps remaining. And here comes Harvick.
Don't pit. Keep going.
No, now they told him to keep going.
We lost a bunch of time there.
Yeah, that was a miscommunication right there that cost Harvick a ton of time and fuel because he had to really get on the brakes and now back up to speed.
Get ready to throw the caution.
You heard him call that they were getting ready to throw a caution, but we didn't see anything.
If the car's slow over in the middle of 3 and 4,
he's going to make it.
He's going to make it back, though.
Yeah, that was a big goof up right there. I know they were trying to keep him out if the caution did come out, but it's going to cost him.
NASCAR.
See, now Keselowski can slow way up. I mean, he doesn't have anybody really pushing him at this point.
4 laps remaining. Harvick is now 2.2 seconds behind.
That's Harvick a lap down. I mean, that's Edwards lap down going around Harvick.
The 19 of Mike Bliss was the car that was slow. He did make it to pit road, so there will be no caution.
I see another car. Looks like maybe the 88 car is slow on the apron. I believe that. It's hard to see, but I believe he's coming to pit road, maybe out of fuel.
He's coming down to it now. Just got 4 to go, a little less than that.
You're right, DJ. It is Eric Almirola. And now Brad Keselowski's lead, 2.4 seconds.
You see how he's doing that? He just backs off the gas real early. Lets the other cars, the lap down cars, go by.
That's right. Both the 60 and the 6 were a lap down. That'll get them back on the lead lap. They're running 10th and 11th overall.
Yeah, if Keselowski's getting good information, he's hearing that these other cars are way back. So just keep on pedaling.
Yeah, just for instance, they're running 34-second laps now, which is over 2 seconds slower than what they had been running when they were racing earlier in this run.
As slow as he's going, it's going to be hard to tell when he does run out of gas.
Here comes David Ruderman. He also a lap down. So he gets back on the lead lap.
Well, I think Keselowski's learned a lot about how to do this. He won that race on fuel mileage in the Cup Series too. So at Kansas, I think he might. I mean, he's close. He got closer than I thought he would get.
He's got a lap and a half to go. His lead is 2.5 seconds over second place Kevin Harvick, 7.7 over Kyle Busch. Justin Allgaier has come down pit road for fuel. He gives up 9th. Here comes the white flag lap. Can he make it a mile and a half?
It's going to be a long mile and a half.
Are you shut off? 1 or 2? 3 seconds.
Did I hear him say we ran out? Somebody said it, but we're going to find out. The 22.
He's still pulling on the back straightaway.
He's still got power. and a 2.5-second lead as they head down into the final corners. What a great
Harvick's going to make it too.
Fuel strategy as Brad Keselowski is going to get the win, his 13th in Nationwide Series competition. Harvick comes home in second. Busch from dead last to third. And Kasey Kahne comes home in fourth position with the man who won 3 in a row. Nowhere in the top 5. Joey Logano gets passed by Elliott Sadler.
Good work, guys. Good work, everybody. We got us one. Yeah.
Joey Logano ran out of fuel. He was running in the 5th position on that final lap, and he is now limping home. Let's talk to that happy crew chief of Brad Keselowski's. How about it, Vince?
Well, Todd Gordon told me earlier today, he said, we have had our chances, but we just haven't put it all together. You did put it all together today. How good does it feel to get the win for this team?
It's good to get going. We had a monkey on our back to start the season. Just seemed like couldn't put a whole situation together. I think we did that today. It's had the dominant race car, run fast laps, and had that strategy at the end. So Brad's done a great job all year. He's Discount Tire has done a wonderful job supporting us, and Ruby Tuesdays too. So just thrilled to be here. Thrilled for the opportunity to be here with Brad Keselowski and Penske Racing.
How much fuel did you have left? Do you know?
We were about a lap short. He saved us a bunch there earlier. I probably had enough to run another green-white checker if we had to. You know, it's a total package. These guys do a fabulous job.
Congratulations, Todd. Marty?
All right, Vince, and you can see Brad does have enough fuel to get the flag and start the celebration. And when we come back, we'll talk about what it does to the points as well, because we've had another change in the championship chase in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Welcome back to Kentucky. Big finish tonight, exciting. It came down to fuel mileage, and one guy who's pretty frustrated comes out second tonight. If that call was any different, Kevin, and he didn't tell you to pit or not pit when you were going to pit, would things have been different? Would you have been in victory lane?
I don't know. I mean, our Rheem Chevrolet was good all night. He just got to make up his damn mind up on the box. You know, it's confusing to all of us, and we just got to get some things straight. But Rheem Chevrolet was really good, and the guys have done a great job in making these cars fast, and don't want to discourage from that, but you just can't fumble over yourself when it comes crunch time.
Kevin, you guys were 6 laps short at one point. You saved 4. How hard is it as a driver to hear we're still 2 laps short with 6 to go?
I knew I had a good lap to 2 laps that I had saved under caution because I came right out of the pits and started saving gas. But, you know, they never told me on the radio that I needed to do anything until, like, you know, 8 or 9 laps to go. And we just have to learn how to race better.
Sounds like communication as well. Let's go over to Dave Burns.
And Elliott Sadler breaking things down with his crew chief Ernie Cope, finding out why the hammer was brought out to your race car. And you finished as well as you did. You're the points leader, Elliott. Great job tonight.
Guys, that's what great race teams do, and that's what championship caliber race teams do, and that's what KHI and these guys are doing for a long time, way before I got over there. We had a track bar mount issue. It was rubbing the inside of the right rear tire. We came in, took the time to fix it, and a great call by Ernie and the guys to stay up for pitch strategy there at the end, and a great run for our one-man Financial Chevrolet. Set on the pole, leads and laps, top 5 finish, points leader. Great first time in Kentucky, so it's not the win that we wanted, but it's a great top 5 finish, and as far as the big picture is concerned, a great run for us. I want to say hello to my wife, Amanda, and my kid, Wyatt. Be home in the morning.
Excruciating time on pit road can sometimes lead to very good things. Marty?
His points lead is 4 now over Reed Sorensen. Sorensen came home in 17th in his last ride in the 30 car this year. And there is victory lane. Brad Keselowski, after 4 times this year, 27th or worse, he's going to celebrate. Take it away, Vince.
They've been close before, but they weren't able to close the deal. Brad Keselowski has not been in victory lane since October of last season, but they did it tonight. Crew Chief Todd Gordon said you guys closed the deal. You did all the things you had to do tonight to win it, including saving some fuel, and you were toying with them when your car is that good. Can you toy with them the way you did tonight?
Well, this car was awesome. It was, you know, one of a brand new car. The boys at Penske Racing built, spent some extra hours on it. Brand new package spec, whatever you want to call it, and it hauls ass, and that feels good. I think we got more in the hopper, and looks like this team started coming along, and it feels great. You know, the guys at Discount Tire have been behind me, supported me, made this program possible so we could win a championship, you know, last year. Got banned from it this year, so now we're just out here having fun, and you know, it's just so much fun. I can't wait. I'm going to see a bunch of the Discount Tire folks this week, and I can't wait to bring them home a trophy, and just so thankful to get the opportunity to drive a competitive cars for Penske, both the Nationwide and the Cup side, and I also got good fuel mileage on these Challengers, too.
We heard you talking on the radio to Kevin Harvick's crew chief, David Hyder, kind of taunting him a little bit. Now, were you as confident as you sounded, or were you playing poker with him?
Well, we all play poker, man. You know, that's what makes oval racing special is it's poker. You know, road racing, solitaire, I like to say. But, you know, this deal here, it's all about strategy and kind of using the right. And, you know, Kevin and I raced really well together. I had a lot of fun racing with him, and he's a heck of a racer. I got the Miller deal. He's got the Bud deal, and we're having fun with it, and we're consuming some beverages in between. But it's been great, and it's good to get that first win. This is an entire new team, with the exception of like 2 people from what we had last year. So this is a work in progress, and we got some momentum, and that feels really good. So awesome to win here in Kentucky. You know, the first full weekend, combination weekend, and you know, you can feel the love from all the fans, and you know, this is a track that I've been coming to since it's been around, and I really appreciate that and want to thank everyone that came out tonight.
Brad Keselowski, he's the Nationwide Series winner at Kentucky. Doc?
And Vince, one of the great stories tonight was the fact that Kyle Busch jumped in a backup car with no practice. He had to put it together and push it on the grid moments before the green flag and drove that car from the back of the pack all the way to third. How'd you pull it off?
Just great guys. You know, the guys do such a great job. I screwed up qualifying today, and Vince the NOS Energy Drink Camry, but we had another one in the truck, and guys did a great job putting it together, getting it ready, and just in time. And probably didn't have as much time as they would have liked to have spent on it, but all in all, you know, we gave it the best we had, and probably was going to be about 5th or 6th before all the fuel exchanges and everything going on there at the end. But, you know, again, thank all the guys that did a great one for me tonight. And Z-Line Designs, Pizza Ranch, NOS Energy Drink, thank all our partners. Wish we could get a little bit better. Maybe we will. And try to challenge for some more wins here soon.
By the way, great job by Kyle Busch tonight. And, Marty, he was out of gas when he took the checkered flag coasting across.
Yeah, it was one of those nights when the history book was certainly turned upside down with the longest green flag race-ending stretch here at Kentucky Speedway. And for Kevin Harvick, even though he comes home second, he does get his 198th top 10 finish. It ties Tommy Houston for the most in Nationwide Series history. All right, we've talked to first, second, and third. Let's talk to 4th place Kasey Kahne. How about it, Dave Burns?
Kasey Kahne in a two-time appearance with the 7 car and a top 5 finish. Tell us how you got there, because I know it was a struggle.
Well, we were really loose, and you know, giving up a little bit of practice, I think, hurt us a little bit, because I hadn't worked with these guys, and you know, so we didn't have the car what I liked in it anyway. So it, you know, that made us way too loose at the start. We kept working. The guys did a really nice job of working hard to get it better. We never got it great, but we definitely got it a little bit better, and we probably would have been 6th or 7th. Saved a lot of fuel at the end, and had good fuel mileage with the Hendrick engine. Turned out all right.
Mark Martin had a few words for you at the end there. What was going on with the 32?
Well, I thought he was letting me by, and then he got loose in and shot me up, and I was like, man, maybe he wasn't letting me by. So it was just a close call into 3, and he was just saying that he just got loose in. He drove in a little too far, got loose, and just saying he didn't mean for it to happen. He let me by later, and it was fine. I race Mark every weekend. I know he didn't do it on intentional. It was just it cost us a lot of time, but we made a lot of it back.
An interesting night and a lot of good feedback for the Junior Motorsports team tonight.
All right, let's go back and show you that moment that they were referring to on the track as the celebration continues down in Victory Lane. First time this year for Brad Keselowski, and there they are explaining it to each other.
Yeah, I saw this happen going down in turn 3 about 3/4 of the way through the race, and it really just about wrecked Kasey Kahne.
So I like to run him high, and I gave him the high spot, and I think I was speeding attention. Did I clear this car? And then I looked up and I was in the
Well, that's one thing everybody that loves and respects about Mark. He'll come right up. He'll talk to you right away. As we take a look at the championship point standings and another change at the top, Elliott Sadler, with his 5th place finish, takes over first place by 4 over Reed Sorensen, who finishes in 17th. Ricky Stenhouse moves up 27 markers behind. Justin Allgaier falls back even further. He's 43 markers back, and there's Jason Leffler in the 5th spot. And Leffler finished 13th tonight. He's with Jamie Little.
Yes, he did. He has a pretty solid run going until the last pit stop. Jason, what happened there?
Well, it was a great pit stop. It was just pit strategy. We took 4, and everybody else took 2, or just fuel only. We gave up all our track position. So I'm saying just the track position is so important. Guys did a great job getting me up there from 14th. Great Clip Chevy was darn good all day. I mean, we ran 6th, 7th, 8th right there, and this didn't work out. We just come out on some bad calls here lately. But guys work hard. Eddie Pardue gives me a great car every week, and I can't complain. We're fast, and one of these days we'll hit it right. So
pit stops better be good. You got Jimmy Johnson's pit crew going over the wall.
Yeah, they're great. It was just strategy. I mean, we took 4. Everybody behind us took 2 or none, and these cars are so aero sensitive. So I want to thank Great Clips and say hi to Charlie back home, and see you in a couple days.
All right, Jason Leffler brings it home 13. Marty?
All right, thank you, Jamie. And as Jason heads back to cool off, we're going to heat things up with our ticket to the race as we head for New Hampshire Motor Speedway next week, and then on to Nashville, where it'll be a standalone event for the Nationwide Series. Then Indianapolis, the final time, will race at Lucas Oil Raceway, and all the way down through the month of September when we go back to Chicagoland Speedway. So there's the victory celebration, and actually Brad had enough fuel in the tank to drive to Victory Lane, where he picked up his 13th career win here in Kentucky. Well, the celebration continues back down in Victory Lane. We talked to the top 5. Kenny Wallace comes home in 6th, Michael Annett 7th, Carl Edwards 8th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 9th, and Joey Logano, the 10th place finisher. What about final thoughts before we go?
I think it's interesting a lot of times how when you have a good race car, you can get better fuel mileage too. All of it kind of works together. But Brad Keselowski and that team did a fantastic job. He said a new car, and they had some things yet to come too. So we may see this scenario play out some more throughout this year.
Yeah, sometimes we see these fuel mileage races come down to somebody getting an opportunity to get in victory lane that maybe didn't have any other way to get there. I think Brad Keselowski had a lot of ways to get there tonight. He had the fastest car pretty much all night long, and he had enough fuel, so it was a great win for this team.
Well, Alan, I'm going to send it down to you with the thought that all that verbal replay with, byplay, I should say, with David Hyder listening in, did that lead to maybe him second-guessing that call, thinking about the yellow coming out?
You know what? I'll ask Rusty and Brad. I thought, first of all, it was entertaining.
Without question.
It was very entertaining. In fact, you and I were sitting here looking at fuel mileage, and, you know, we watched these guys run about 5 miles to the gallon.
Yep.
And they did the same thing tonight, ran out almost right at 200, 200. So anybody back home want to know how many miles per gallon does a NASCAR Nationwide car get? It's 5 miles to the gallon.
There you go. Take you back through how tonight's 300-mile race unfolded here at Kentucky Speedway. Kyle Busch, one of the pre-race favorites. Well, in qualifying a couple hours before the race, went from being a favorite to having some work to do.
Stepped out on him and backed at the fence in qualifying, had to go to the back of the field and started 43rd.
Charged his way up to finish in 3rd position. Kyle making his way through the traffic very, very quickly. Was up to 20th place by lap 10, 15th place by lap 30. He was into the top 10 pretty early on in this race. Some great driving tonight and great work by the 18 team. Championship picture, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. What a rally. Talk about down, up, down. Had the early spin, right? Came back, got a free pass, got on the lead lap, got back up into the top 5. And then they had to stop and pit late for fuel.
Yeah, things like that happen. He did a good job. At least he didn't wreck that car trying to get that thing to pit road.
A lot of drivers struggling with track conditions and handling tonight, and the bumps and the bounces.
Very bumpy racetrack, cars bouncing all over the track, some tight, some loose, but all bumpy. And guys did a good job overall.
And if you got up out of that dark groove.
If you left that rubber, boy, you went for a ride. It was like being on black ice. We saw Brian Scott there get up in the marbles, as well as Casey Kane here. Just no grip up top.
5 cautions for 24 laps in tonight's race. There is Mark Martin, even the best in the business, having some troubles handling things here tonight. Crucial pit stops here. They came with 66 laps to go. Spit the number out, Alan. 66 laps to go. Everybody came in and topped off the fuel. Can they make it? No, maybe, yes. But they found out a way to make it work. Most of them. Carl Edwards leading a charge to pit road here inside the final 10 laps.
I was very surprised that Carl and these guys had a pit, this early, because I thought the Fords got better fuel mileage, but it looked like the Dodge was the king tonight.
Especially with Carl Edwards and those guys not running for points. I thought he would have taken a big chance.
And then with 5 to go, Kevin Harvick with the fake to pit road.
Yeah, there was a car rolling on the
racetrack, David Hyder's crew chief thought maybe there would be a caution flag opportunity for a green, white, yellow, or green, white checker. Didn't quite happen. Kevin got caught on the racetrack. Brad Keselowski got bigger lead. No one could catch him. Katie barred the door for the 22.
Now, the fuel mileage and the late pit stops and all that really shuffled up the finishing order in this race. On that last caution, when they got the one to go, Kenny Wallace's team came in and topped off the fuel. It resulted in him getting a 6th place finish tonight. Let's hear from him.
And can you tell us about that critical decision your team made to come in and top off?
Well, you know, we're sitting around 15th, and I said, what position are we? Scott Zipadelli said we're 20th. I said, how many cars on the lead lap? So 23 cars on the lead lap. We decided to come in and, you know, cap that Toyota Camry off, and we got to about 15th, and then we started saving a little bit of fuel. So it was a good run for this UNOH Toyota Camry.
It was a great run for him tonight. Jamie?
Well, a lot of people watching lap times throughout the race would have said this guy would have been your winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but you spun early, you cut a tire, you went down a lap, you fought your way back, but what was the biggest frustration of the night?
Just the finish, man. We our Blackwell Angus Beef and Cargill Mustang was super fast. I mean, the guys worked really hard on it. We unloaded. We weren't that great. Had a new paint scheme, which looked good, and we wanted to put it in victory lane. But, you know, the guys worked really hard all throughout practice, and we just don't get the fuel mileage that everybody else gets. We're just going to have to go back to the shop and work on that because these things are fuel mileage races these days, and they're just killing us. So hopefully we can go back and work on that because the cars are really fast, and I think any 3 of our cars, you know, have a chance to win every week. So hopefully we can go back and get that taken care of and contend for some wins.
Well, it was an eventful night. He still brought it home 9th, another top 10.
All right, Jamie, thanks. And Stenhouse and the rest of the NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers will head up to the Magic Mile in Loudon, New Hampshire. That is next Saturday afternoon. You will see the race, of course, as part of our continuing coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series all season long. Next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN as the NASCAR Nationwide Series goes to the Northeast. So storylines tonight, Joey Logano's bid for 4 straight at Kentucky. Ran out of fuel in the last lap, wound up finishing 10th. Kyle, can he come from the back? Yup, sure did. Mark Martin, could he get number 50? Nope, sure didn't. Wound up in 14th. And the championship, Elliott Sadler is now your championship leader, and this very close fight for the Nationwide Series title rolls off to New England.
Complete different type of racetrack up in New Hampshire, a 1 mile flat, short track like you said. It's going to be different type of race, and I can't wait to get there.
Get the drone butter ready. I'm coming to eat some lobsters.
There you go. Sports Center is next. Brad Keselowski is your winner. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
NASCAR Nationwide Series from Kentucky Speedway is green. There is Kyle. Member started 43rd in the field.
Kyle's just manhandling this car right now.
Yeah, just don't have very much grip down there, 3 and 4. I think as the sun goes down, we'll get better.
Keselowski says his car is a rocket ship.
I know you're listening. I'm just going to keep slowing down so you get
As
near
Brad
me.
Keselowski is going to get the win, his 13th in Nationwide Series competition.